We're discussing the topic of sensitivity, and I'd like to just expand a little more on this topic. I was once the recipient of a highly insensitive, what seemed to me as a highly insensitive comment, and it was so insensitive that it tore my life to pieces. It was incredibly painful, and for about a year, I had a very difficult time having anything to do with this person. Just the thought of this person would give me would make me shudder and would give me the greatest pain. And then I had another had to have another incident, another interaction with this person, and I realized that while to me the comment was the greatest possible insensitivity that anyone could ever imagine, and when I shared this with some of my mentors, some of my rabbanim, they agreed that it was an incredibly insensitive comment. But this person, I found out this person just wasn't attuned to sensitivity. For this person, this is the way the person spoke in all realms. And it wasn't something specifically geared at me, just that this person didn't have a high, what they call EI, an emotional intelligence. And um, just, they weren't given that faculty. Everybody's given different faculties. They weren't given that faculty. And when I came to this understanding, I realized that I could transcend this feeling that I had, and it was very useful for me to do so because it was seriously interrupting with my life and my functioning. And the truth is now, with this person, I have an extremely normal relationship, and I go with the understanding that this person just doesn't understand this areas. They're just not educated, attuned, and talented in these areas. And if we're able to do this, if we're able to understand that different people have different levels of emotional intelligence, and some people just will never get it, no matter what. No matter what you tell them, no matter what experiences they have, they won't get it because they're just not wired for those experiences. That makes life so much easier, and we can put things into completely a different framework. Chazal tell us that in order to be on the Sanhedrin, you had to be married, you had to have had children, and there was a reason for that because being married and having children, it increases our sensitivity, it expands our horizons, and the it allows us to grow in this area, and to become more um, expanded people. Rav Shimon Shkop in his incredible sefer Shai Yosher, one of the great svarim in Dak Lumdis, and very fine understanding of Talmudic study, in his introduction, he asked the following question. It says, "V'hafta recha kamocha," love your neighbor as yourself. How is that possible? How can I love somebody like myself? I love myself very much. The biggest proof is I feed myself 3 times a day. I make sure I sleep. I take care of myself 24/7 all the time. Says Rav Shimon Shkop, he says the way to do this is to make other people kamocha, to expand your level of existence, right? To your family, to your friends, to your neighbors, and to the whole world, as it were, to the Jewish people and the whole world, as it were. And this is the way you can properly fulfill the mitzvah of B'havtarei Kavocha. Make other people like yourself. Make other people like yourself. And just like I would be completely understanding if I said something and I wasn't aware of the sensitivities behind this comment. So too, if someone else, it happens to me, then I should make an effort to try to understand. Again, you don't have to be in relationships where you're hurt. Yeah, you don't have to be in relationships where you're hurt. And a person is a verbally abusive person, then it might be a very good idea to get out of that relationship if you're able to, right? But I'm referring to people who are not necessarily verbally abusive, but they just don't have the faculties. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there who are like that, and they just don't have the faculties. They're not bad people. They're just missing this level of intelligence and understanding. And if we can be understanding of that, right, and include that in our world outlook, that there are people like that, and they just won't get it, and they don't mean anything bad. It's just that they don't have the faculties of emotional intelligence, and they might say things to us which seem like cutting and scathing. Right? So that's something really, really useful that I learned from that particular encounter. There was something else that I got out from that, which was after a year of suffering from this very, very initially scathing comment and overcoming it, I realized that I had lost an incredible amount of self pride and um, ego. Right? In truth, the point of being Jewish, the point of being a Eved Hashem, being Jewish, is to destroy your ego, and to the self should become totally, as it were, non-existence vis-a-vis one's creator. And this is what the Kutzker says when a Jew wakes up in the morning and says, "Moda ani lifanecha." He says, "Who's the ani and who is lifanecha? Who am I and who am I before?" Right? The Hasidic concept of bittul, right, means that there's nothing. I'm take away all elements of self before my creator, and there's no better way to transcend oneself, and we can even call it one's selfishness, than to be the recipient of a scathing comment and to rise above it and to realize, who am I in the end? What am I that I am so upset about this comment? It's coming from one's ego and from one's inner self, feeling of selfishness and self existence and ego. And the more you could get rid of this, the more happy you're going to be. The year later, after I had worked through this entire challenge of dealing with this comment, I felt so much better. And in truth, I felt so much gratitude to this person for having destroyed me in this way. Because as the Maharal says, that before every new construction, there needs to be destruction. Right? This is what Chevlei Mashiach are all about. That before Mashiach comes, the old um, the old world has to be destroyed, and there has to be a new world order. And that's not just in Mashiach; it's in birth as well. That's why there's Chevlei Leda for a new neshama to come into this world. There needs to be a destruction, as it were, of the mother. The Gemara tells us 2 years the mother is like almost um, destroyed, her nisparko ivra, that her bones fall apart, as it were. For 2 years, she's weakened by the birth experience. And the reason is, for creation, there needs to be destruction. And if it's true in those realms, it's certainly true in ourselves. If we want to grow, if we want to get to the next level, we have to destroy the previous level. And the way we do that is by undergoing experiences, having experiences, and rising above. And we have to know Hashem sends these experiences to us. Hashem sends people to put us into these situations in order that we should be able to lift up ourselves and grow and be greater and greater people. And we have to recognize it's an asoyin. It has absolutely nothing to do with the person themselves. Again, if someone is causing you day in and day out tremendous pain, is an abusive person, you don't have to be in such a relationship. You have every right to leave that relationship. But if you're in a relationship where the person is just not educated and the person just doesn't have the emotional intelligence, and you're able to understand that and to rise above that and to destroy your ego in that area to the point where it just doesn't bother you anymore. So this is a truly great person. As we said in the last class, Ezu Gibor Akovish Yitzro. The greatest strength in the world is the ability to rise above ourselves and to be a sensitive person when it comes to other people, when it comes to ourselves, to be able to rise above the feelings which push us to feel negative feelings about other people, to rise above that and to be giving and kind and warm people, despite how um, how we might be challenged by other people. So this is something we can keep in mind during these days, and should we have the greatest hatzlacha and bracha and siyata shema in all areas. Hashem should help us that when we're the victims, as it were, of insensitivity, to continue to be sensitive, to grow, to think about why Hashem has sent us these challenges, and to rise above any difficulties we might have. Amen.